I'm the de facto leader of a movement, screaming hack the planet back in 99. Activism in its prime, global hell had the dot mill rooted. Alphabet soup and they troops in the suits, kicking down doors and seizing my equipment, blocking on my shipments, sitting on they hit list. Whole day radical, emphatic, beat addict in the stab hit. I envelope the game, call me Rabbit. Hop to hop, I run the internet equivocally. Bitch, I be hit 'em with the bite style symmetry. Digi-G, digital gangsta reppin' till I'm dead. Steady grip Apache logs when I'm looking for the feds. Fast forward, now the internet anonymous and captains of the lows both raise the mass prominent. Dominant hacks. And I sec on that new news, dropping tables in my sequel like it was some poo-poo.
Pound and he sick.
Pounding through your speakers.
Pound and he sick.
Pound it to the bleachers.
Pound and he sick.
If you're sitting below deck in the lows, boat salute, bitch, and show some respect.
Pound and he sick.
Pounding through your speakers.
Pound and he sick.
Pound it to the bleachers.
Pound and he sick.
If you're sitting below deck in the lows, boat salute, bitch, and show some respect. Low sec, bitch, they phone you hack Sony. Got the MD5, we rock your macaroni. Cook, coke, crack, them more like a noodle. While HB Gary stay toast like a strudel. Root shell on your bootstrap, now who's that? Buying the M join and drop your whole C-class. Yeah, C-class, it is evident we flousing. Iron cannon in the proc list, deep dousing. Lean back, bitch, we be sending an injection. Magic quotes off, join table intersection. Put it up on base, then it won't get erased. Then 20 million hits till you're down like some cavemen. That's CNN. You want to interview? Send a priv message to the nickname Sabu. On IRC, man, we convening in some 99 throwback shit. Now I'm screaming.
Pound and he sick.
Pounding through your speakers.
Pound and he sick.
Pound it to the bleachers.
Pound and he sick.
What is up, everyone? Yo, I don't know if the audio came through. Hopefully that video actually had sound that I was just playing. Do want to give credit where it's due. You can see it up in the top corner. I found, well, first, I like that song by Whitey Cracker, and I was listening to music because I work today, and I came across that like lyric video, and I thought it was sweet. So I was like, yo, we should play that in the beginning of a stream. But good to have all of you hanging out. If you don't know who I am, my name is Tyler. Super excited to have you here. I'm a pen tester by day, make ethical hacking content at night, and do want to let you know as well that I am live streaming on 3 different platforms. You can join on whichever platform works best for you. So I am live right now on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitch. On YouTube and LinkedIn, I just stream under my name, Tyler Ramsbey, and over on Twitch, I stream under the name Hack_Smarter. So YouTube and LinkedIn is Tyler Ramsbey, Twitch it is Hack Smarter. But yo, wherever you're watching from, I have chat pulled up from every platform, so I'll do my best to pay attention to the chat. Let me scroll up and see who is checking in. We got 444C with the first blood beating out Zero Cool by, well, actually, according to the restream timestamp, you both said yo at the exact same time, which is crazy. But somehow 444C is on there first. But literally, you guys both did it 20, 35, 38, which is insane. We got Mando checking in. We got Sync Logic. We got Victor. We got Saturn. We got Death Wish Show. We got Chris. What is up, Chris? We got Mark, we got Baker Tech, we got Mary Ellen Kennel, we got Nox Lumens, we got T1000, 0x Ronin, Scott King. What is up, y'all? Hey, and if you're not checking in, there's like, it looks like there's 30 people already on the stream between the different platforms, and most of you haven't said hi, so hey, say hello. Let me know, even if you're just lurking, I would love to hear from you in the beginning. We got Philippe checking in from Brazil. Amazing. Guys, did you guys have a good day? Any fun wins to celebrate? Anyone do anything amazing between last night's stream and today? If you did, I would love to hear. What up, Hoyman Noi? Good to have you here. We are going to do some HackingHub tonight. I kind of previewed this on the stream last night, but we're going to dive into it. So While you guys are saying hello in chat, what up, Malice? I'm going to get things pulled up on my screen, get Notion, everything opened. Hey, just started the AWS pen testing course. Amazing. Let me know what you think of it. I spent so much time and so much work on that course, and it's been cool. It's all positive comments, like from the people who are going through it. So let me know what you think of it as you work your way through that course. Also, while I get this pulled up, probably a good time to do a word from our sponsor, shall we? Because it's going to take me a minute to set this up. So, hey, before we continue, enjoy this 30-second word from our sponsor, Tyler. A big shout out to Tyler Ramsbey for sponsoring this live stream. Here you go. My Intro to AWS Pen Testing course is available right now for only $20 for lifetime access. This course covers everything from setting up your own AWS pen testing lab to IAM enumeration and Lambda and S3 buckets and privilege escalation, all ending with 2 full capstone challenges created by me based on things that I see in the real world when doing AWS pen testing. So go ahead and get signed up right now and learn AWS pen testing for yourself. Happy hacking. All right, well, thank you, Tyler, for sponsoring the live stream and making this possible. Do want to say, if you haven't picked up my AWS pen testing course, what are you waiting for? Like, seriously, even if you're new to AWS pen testing, you're going to learn a lot from it. I've had a lot of people saying, look, I am brand new to AWS pen testing, but I've been able to follow along with the course. I did my best to really make it both beginner friendly, but the course really builds as you work your way through it, and it gets quite complex, but it takes you from the beginning to really getting comfortable with AWS pen testing. I'll drop a link to the course in the chat. If you haven't signed up, make sure you do. I will say this, right now, it is only $20 for lifetime access. I could have easily sold that course for $200, $300, $400, and that wouldn't even have been a ripoff. I mean, that's what that course is worth. So I can tell you right now, it will not remain $20 forever. I probably won't ever price it at like $200, but the price is going to go up. So if you want it for the $20 of lifetime access, do not put it off. Get the course now. And hey, while we get this pulled up, happy to answer any questions you guys might have. Let me look at chat. What a cool sponsor. I agree. He's a cool dude. Tyler looks a lot like Tyler. I know. Amazing. So I apologize, LinkedIn user. Restream sometimes give me LinkedIn users' names, but sometimes it doesn't. So LinkedIn user, I don't know who you are, but you said you got the AWS pen test course. So thank you so much for the support. Let me know. Tag me as you work your way through the course what your thoughts are. What up, Jimmy? Jimmy's been working through the course. Good to have you here. Actually, I think, Jimmy, you finished the course. When I was looking at the reports, I think you got first blood on the course, I believe. So congratulations. Chaos Trick said, just got through the IAM enumeration. Love the cheat sheet. Can't wait to see what else is coming. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. And for those of you who maybe haven't even looked at it, here's the course. I have 65 lessons spread across 10 sections, and this is all like hands-on labs, video type stuff. Like, I had spent many hours designing the curriculum. The capstone challenge are custom labs designed by me based on things I see in the real world. So this really is worth a lot more than $20. Make sure you guys get it. All right, let me jump back over to chat. Jakarta said, I hope this question is not inappropriate. Is your course meant as a supplement or preparation for ACRTP Pwn Pro Labs or as a competition? Thanks. So very much not a competition. I'm a big fan of Pwn Labs. Matter of fact, Pwn Labs is sort of a sponsor for my course because if you go through the course, at the end of the course, I have a special gift for you. And I have exclusive 25% off coupons for Pwn Labs, Cyber, and Try Hack Me's Cloud training. Literally, they are exclusive for this course. And I've done a lot of content for Pwn Labs, hope to do more stuff for them. So it's not a competition with Pwn Labs at all. Matter of fact, I showcase both Pwn Labs and Cyber in the course. So the way the course is set up, the first lab is a free lab from Cyber, the second lab is a free lab from Pwn Labs, and then the other labs are from CloudGoat. So I show off both of them. The pen testing cert by Pwn Labs is going to be, I think, a little more advanced. But the reason I say I think is I haven't gone through their training for the AWS side of things, so I actually don't know what they all cover. But I have a feeling if you go through my course, you're going to be able to pass the cert over at Pwn Labs, I think. Let me scroll up. And no, I'm not competing with Pwn Labs. I will continue working with them. Ian's a really good friend of mine. He's the founder of Pwn Labs. Did Try Hack Me fix Silver Platter? They did. So if you are working through my Intro to Hacking Methodology course, which is a completely free course, no strings attached, on that one that brings you through, once again, a custom machine I created. This course is definitely worth more than free, but it is free right now. But Intro to Hacking Methodology goes through a course I created on Try Hack Me. And yes, that machine is fixed now, 444C. I pinged first I identified the issue. I pinged Try Hack Me and they got it fixed right away today. So kudos to Try Hack Me for that. What up from Canada? Good to have you here, Juan. We got Rua from I can't say your country's name, but excited to have you here. Can't believe I didn't know there was a dark mode. Yeah. Hey, Tyler, can you rate a guy? He is 21 years old and he has CCIE. That's a weird question. I don't know what you're asking, but no, I'm not going to rate a guy. Jared said, gonna get the course and I get paid. Amazing. Jendo says, I have it, but I have not yet finished it. Jimmy said, finished it a few days ago. Awesome job on the course. So thank you, Jimmy. I did not pay Jimmy to say that. Do we need to buy AWS sub as well? No. So like you don't need to buy anything else to work your way through my course. Only the $20. Everything in the course is done on a free tier AWS account. You don't have to pay any other money to complete the course. I did that intentionally. I'm working also on VAPT. Any suggestions how to do the best methodology or tools to use? I feel like I'm missing something. I don't know how to figure out and make it best at my VAPT analysis reporting. That's a very context-specific question. I don't know what it looks like in your organization. So I can't answer that super well on stream, but if you DM me on Discord, happy to dig into that with you. I know. I don't know what rate a guy is. All right, we got like 60 people now on stream. Guys, thank you for hanging out. This is going to probably be a shorter stream. I think we're going to work through this lab on HackingHub, but I think just one lab. I want to get some exercise in today and not stream for 3 hours. Oh, nice. Okay, good to know, Chaos Tricks. Okay, I said I did end up getting a prepaid credit card to enter in AWS, and it was accepted for the payment method. I didn't want to use my primary credit card, but I was really pleased AWS accepted my prepaid Visa. Amazing. Yeah, so part of setting up a free tier AWS account is you still need a credit card, but in the course, I show you how to set up budget alerts so you don't get charged and all that good stuff. Let me put my phone on silent so it doesn't ping. My phone was telling me to stream. Is it better to start directly in the red team path after the junior pen tester? Do you mean on Try Hack Me? Yeah, do it. Both paths are really well done. John Doe said, Tyler, your first and free course is the first course anybody interested in cyber should take. Well, thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Love the artwork. Thank you, Jared. That is courtesy of my kids. And also, hey, I'll show this to you guys real quick. I show this every once in a while on stream. But for those who are new to me, this will surprise you. This wall behind me is not real. It is a figment of your imagination. No, so I work in an unfinished basement. Like my basement is just concrete walls. This is my office, but I figured seeing insulation behind me doesn't look good on stream. So for like $20 or $30, I bought this fake brick wall off Amazon, and it's just hanging from 2 photography stands. So like, it's literally just fabric, and then my kids decorated it. I'll show you guys kind of what this looks like. If I look up, like, I'm not joking. This is my office in an unfinished basement. This is where I work. Even better than that. And this is where I tell people, like, you don't need all the fancy stuff to be a streamer or to make YouTube videos. My desk down here, guys, is literally 2 6-foot white tables. That is my desk. I'll show this to you guys. I don't know if there's a good way here. Let me turn on a lamp. All right, here is the streamers, the best way to stream. I'm not joking. I have 2 6-foot white tables that I made like an L-shaped desk with, and that is how I stream. You don't need to spend a bunch of money to start streaming. My webcam, like when I'm talking to you guys on my webcam, this is a $60 webcam. Now my microphone is pretty high end. I'll admit that, but that's because I used to do music production. To make some side income back in the day. So like my mic is really nice, but everything else is quite ghetto, but it works. So don't get all the fancy setups those other streamers have. Most important when it comes to streaming is make sure your audio quality is good, and that's really the most important thing. But that's my setup. Okay, let me scroll up. A little confused on beginner, intermediate stuff. Didn't know what to do now. Android Sec, IoT reversing. So Baker Tech, do AppSec or web app hacking. You can never get too good at web app hacking. There's an error in your last command history on Ledger. I watched a walkthrough. There probably was, but I don't know if you stayed on for the whole thing on Ledger. The machine kept crashing for me. So the machine crashed, I rebooted it, and it crashed again, and then I quit. I know I was close. I was like a minute away from completing the machine, but it kept crashing, and I had to reboot it. Like, the machine literally died. I couldn't RDP. I couldn't do anything to it, even after rebooting the machine. And as a result, I'm not going to finish it. Is what it is. I'm thinking about taking the CPTS path, but don't know how best to prepare. You prepare by going through this stuff on Hack the Box Academy. Their path for the CPTS is really well done. I would go through that, and then I would do their pro labs, Zephyr in particular. Do you know one of the best parts of your YouTube channel is? Study with me. Well, hey, that's... Oh, someone gifted some subs? What? Guys, I apologize. The restream didn't show that to me. Let me get Twitch pulled up, so I can did it say who did it? I see it up there. Oh, it was Owen Wilson. Dude, thank you so much for gifting the subs. You are amazing. I apologize I didn't give the shout out right away, but usually I just watch a restream, and restream didn't show that to me. So thank you, seriously, for the support. I really do appreciate it. And study with me. I'm glad you enjoy that. I can't share too much right now, guys, but I have some plans in place that will allow me to make content a lot more, including like those longer study with me streams. So I can't share anymore, but stay tuned for the very near future. I think you guys will be happy. Tracking me is doing a webinar, boosting offensive ops with AI. Cool. Best desk I ever had was an old white door with a knob removed. Love that desk, so much space. Had to give up when we had kiddos. That's amazing. Yeah, thank you, Owen Wilson. Thank you, thank you. What up, Ping from TCM? Good to have you here. Laris with the real question that everybody is wondering. If I master Burp Suite, will it increase my popularity with women? Yes. I mean, I don't even know why that's a question. Obviously it will. I mean, you master Burp Suite, you're going to have issues. Like, there's going to be too many women coming after you. Knox says, I've been struggling to move from support and network sysadmin. Really don't want to go back to school, but it's an option. Do you have an opinion on college versus experience? So, Knox, what's your end goal? Pen testing or something else? That would change how I answer your question. Oh, you finished the CPTS. You just have to take the test now. That's awesome. Looks like my credit card was rejected because I'm from a country you can't even pronounce. So do a prepaid Visa. I think you can do that. Is this about chemistry or what type of science? This is about hacking. I think the category on Twitch is like science and technology. I get paid to hack stuff legally. During the day, I'm a ethical hacker, which means companies hire me to do all the things criminals do, but I do it legally. Then I give them a detailed report at the end saying, hey, you might want to fix this before Russia does it to you next. And then on Twitch and stuff in the evenings, I work through various realistic labs, all legal, of course, demonstrating how to get into a field as an ethical hacker. So if you're new to my Twitch channel, that's what's going on. Absolutely, pen testing. I'm applying for all the security jobs I'm qualified for. Gotcha. Knox, you may have told me this before, but do you have the OSCP and do you have a CVE? I mean, that would be my recommendation. Get the OSCP and get a CVE. That's going to do more for you than a college degree when it comes to pen testing. And also networking is huge. Attending conferences if you can, things like that. Okay, guys, I appreciate all the questions. I am going to dive into this lab shortly. Any advice on start? Well, let me back up. I'll answer a few more questions. Hello, sir. I have a question related to website. Like, how can you give a broader overview of how you will get ready if you want to climb the leaderboard? I have no idea what your question is. MedJ said, any advice for someone starting a YouTube based on forensic CTFs? Come on, Callie, don't do this to me. My advice for anyone, whether it's a YouTube channel or a blog, is make sure you stay consistent. So many people are like, yo, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. And they do it for a month and they realize that what I'm doing right now is not as easy as I might make it look. Like, guys, I've been doing this for 3 years, releasing on average 2 to 3 videos every single week for 3 years. I think I have like 600 videos now and live streaming, all in addition to working full time, having a wife and 2 young kids. And I can only do this after my kids are asleep. So it's a grind. So if you are consistent and persistent, it will pay off, but it does take time. The first year, you're not going to see any crazy growth unless you have some viral video. It's all about continuing to grind, continuing to work when nobody is watching, and slowly you'll get that snowball effect and you'll start to see a little bit of success and a little bit of traction. But that would be my best advice. If you're going to start a YouTube channel or start a blog, you need to make sure that you do it even when you do not feel like it. Make sure you are consistent and persistent with it. And honestly, that goes for anything in life worth doing. You have to be able to push through that mental block of, I just don't feel like doing it today. Freaking get over it and do it anyways. That's my advice. If MITRE responds, you're correct, 444C. Oh, and HackerOne? I don't know. I don't do HackerOne. Frick, Knox. So, Knox, DM me on Discord. I would love to talk one-on-one, but you're doing everything right, dude. And I might have some ideas and some introductions I can do for you. But DM me on Discord. Yeah, consistent. Don't take 40 days off. You do need that time off occasionally, but a lot of people will like do YouTube for a month and they take 2 years off. And they're like, oh, why is my YouTube channel not growing? Or they get mad at like the other YouTubers who have channels with subscribers. And it's like, well, while you were freaking playing Call of Duty, I was streaming. That's the difference between us. Just bought the AWS course. What? Congratulations, Freddie. Dude, you will enjoy it. Thank you so much for purchasing it. Let me know what you think of it as you work your way through it. All right, y'all. Let me go ahead and get logged into HackingHub because you guys have been distracting me. First, if you want to follow along, I mean, I released this video on my YouTube channel, which, shoot, I should share that, guys. I know I'm streaming right now on a bunch of different platforms, but my primary platform is YouTube. So if you do not follow me on YouTube, you should follow me on YouTube. You can see here I have almost 600. We have 500 some videos. This is where I post all my like shorter standalone content videos. Let me drop it there. So if you don't sub to me on YouTube, come do it. Are you going to do other cloud courses? Yeah. No, the only difference is, not difference. The reason I'm only done AWS so far is I do all kinds of pen testing during the day, like for my day job, and I do AWS, Azure, and GCP pen testing, but I've only done a little bit of Azure and GCP, but I've done a lot of AWS. And I don't want to make a course about something unless I'm truly qualified to speak about that. Like, I'm happy to do YouTube videos on it, but a course that people are paying for, I want to make sure is at a certain level of quality. And one issue I have with so many influencers is they make courses about hacking when they've never been a freaking pen tester one day in their life, and they just solved a try hack me machine, and now they want to make a course to make money off their audience and charge like $200 for it, right? So if I release a course about something, it's because I actually do it for my real job. I'm not a silly influencer showing off an anonymous mask trying to make hacking look cool. So I feel like I'm qualified to make an AWS course, but I'm not yet qualified to make an Azure or a GCP course just because I don't do that much Azure and GCP pen testing. So once I get a little more experience under my belt with those platforms, I will definitely make a course on it. Hopefully that makes sense. Just a social question. How are you doing, Tyler? Dude, I am doing well. I appreciate you asking. I have some exciting things that I'm working on in the background. I'm always grinding, even when you guys aren't seeing me. like things that will really take everything I'm doing to the next level. And so those conversations are happening in the background. I can't share anything with you guys yet, but very, very soon. I think you guys will like it. Is an API course possible in the future? Maybe, but see, I want to make courses on things that aren't adequately covered elsewhere. There's there are no courses on AWS pen testing that only cost $20 that I think are as extensive as the course I made. So I really hit a niche with that course. And same with like my next course, I want to make a course all about how to do real phishing during a pen test, setting up all the infrastructure and things like that, and bypassing restrictions, all of that good stuff. I don't think that's covered in too many places elsewhere. APIs are covered really well by my friend Corey Ball over at APISec or APISec University. I think that's their platform. And he has a whole book about them. And Corey Ball is an amazing person. So I don't know. I don't know how much I would add to APIs. He has that covered really well, and it's free. All right. You just described most of YouTube. Yeah. Will this course help in DevSecOps? Probably, because it will help you understand the security side of things. Can you share the book? Yeah, I can. Here, let me pull it up real quick. So this is, at least the last I checked, completely free. It's a hands-on course on hacking APIs. Absolutely amazing with hands-on labs. Really, really well done. They've added a lot of stuff since the last time I looked at this. But APISec University is an amazing resource. And the person who teaches the course is Corey Ball, who I've actually had on my YouTube channel before. Really nice, genuine person. Let me grab his book and drop it right here. But his book is here. I recommend you buy it to support him. But seriously, APISec University is completely free. You can just work through it right now. And they do have certs. I think you can pay for the certs. Yeah. So if you want to be certified, you can pay for it. But all the training is free, which is absolutely amazing. Okay. Let's go and check out HackingHub. Speaking of free resources, everything in HackingHub is free as well, with the exception of the courses. So what I'm going to do on the stream today, you can follow along right alongside of me. Make a free account right now in HackingHub, and you can follow along. I'm going to stop sharing my screen just so I can get logged in. All right. So real quick, before I start recording for YouTube, and let me explain this a little bit, y'all, for those of you who might be new. Let me move myself around. So first, I just saw the Ko-Fi message. If you guys don't support me on Ko-Fi, you... Oh, man, hoi manoi. Yeah. Ewan comment of the night. Let me redrop my Ko-Fi for those of you who don't follow me on Ko-Fi. Oh, man. If Ko-Fi doesn't work out, I'm going to have to start an OnlyFans account, and that's how I'll make my my money. But anyways, if you appreciate all the content that I create, you can check out Ko-Fi. I have a few different membership levels. If you do Hack Smarter Learning, I have a bunch of courses I'm working on. You'll get access to all of them as a release. You don't have to pay anything additional. Hack Smarter Support, you get early access to all my courses, and you get to beta test them. But don't spam. I have joked with my wife. I told my wife that when I go to stream, I'm like, all right, I got to go do my OnlyFans account now. And then I told her, maybe I'd make more like super chats if every time I pop a shell, I just take off an article of clothing. But I don't think that quite works in the ethical hacking space. What's Ko-Fi? Ko-Fi is kind of like Patreon for creators. So if you want to support what I do and give donations, you can do it on Ko-Fi. The difference in Ko-Fi and Patreon is Patreon, at least last I checked, takes a cut of the payment. Ko-Fi passes all of the payment like directly to the creator. All right. Anyways, if you guys are new to my streams, what we do is we kind of hang out, we chat like I'm doing right now, and then I record shorter standalone videos for my YouTube channel. And what I'm going to do shortly is we're going to record a shorter standalone YouTube channel for our YouTube channel, YouTube video on one of the missions from HackingHub. Now, what I'm going to showcase for you is completely free. So I encourage you to follow along if you would like on your own. You do learn something by watching me, but you learn better by following along. Try school? I'll have to check that out. I never heard of it. All right. No offense to you guys. I'm going to have to turn off chat for this video because chat's heading in an interesting direction. I will keep my eye on the chat though, but freaking amazing comments. But the people watching on YouTube after the fact are going to be very confused. Well, every time I watch your streams, I learn about some new learning resource I didn't know about. Could you please make a list of learning websites you think everyone must know about? I should. I should make a YouTube video about that. That's a good idea. All right. Well, you know what? I'll turn chat back on. YOLO. If you guys say something dumb, I don't even care. It's part of the fun, part of the joy of live streaming and having it be part of it. All right, let me get a drink of water, then we're going to record. Ice cold water. Love it. I'm going to start recording now for YouTube. Here we actually, and I'm going to include my video. I'll include my sponsored video in this so I don't have to edit it later. All right, here we go. I changed my mind. We're turning off chat. I can't do that. I'll be cracking up if I'm looking at it constantly. This guy. What up from Singapore? I've changed my mind. Chat's off. You guys are in timeout for now. We can't have this hub language on the YouTube channel. YouTube will freaking strike me. I've already gotten strikes from YouTube. Absolutely hilarious, though. All right, here we go. Here we go. I will still keep my eye on chat, though, guys. But here we go. I'm going to start recording. Hey, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to give you a detailed walkthrough of one of the missions on HackingHub. Now, if you haven't heard about HackingHub, I just recently released a video about HackingHub and giving kind of a deeper look at it. The one really cool thing about this platform is everything is free, like really no strings attached. The only thing that costs money is the courses, but all of the hacking labs are completely free for you to work through and completely free for you to do. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you one of those free labs, and I strongly encourage you to follow along. You do learn something by just watching me work my way through it, but you're going to learn a lot more if you get hands on keyboard, even if it's a little bit confusing at first. I'm going to explain every single command that we run, every enumeration step, so get hands on keyboard and be sure to follow along with me. But hey, before we dive into the video, I do want to give you a word from our sponsor, and I want to thank Tyler Ramsbey for sponsoring this video. So check out this word from our sponsor, and then we'll dive into this lab together. My Intro to AWS Pen Testing course is available right now for only $20 for lifetime access. This course covers everything from setting up your own AWS pen testing lab to IAM enumeration and Lambda and S3 buckets and privilege escalation, all ending with 2 full capstone challenges created by me based on things that I see in the real world when doing AWS pen testing. So go ahead and get signed up right now and learn AWS pen testing for yourself. Happy hacking. All right. Hey, thank you, Tyler, for making this video possible. And seriously, if you haven't purchased my Intro to AWS Pen Testing course, it's not going to be $20 forever. That price will be going up. But if you get it now, it is $20 for lifetime access. Make sure you grab that course. But here we are on HackingHub. And like I said, you can follow along. Everything I'm going to show you is completely free. So make a free account in HackingHub and follow along with me. But here on the hubs, what we want to go to is missions. Missions are kind of like longer labs where you have to tie different exploits and vulnerability chains together, and we'll scroll through it and we'll begin the VulnLawyer mission. Now you can see this is one that I already completed, and usually I like to showcase myself working through things live, but I thought this was so well done and really useful for teaching, I wanted to showcase it in a video. So I have worked my way through this, but I'm still going to explain to you my full methodology, my full thought process. I'll take notes like I'm working through this live. I'll show you how I would approach this as a pen tester. So let's go ahead and dive into this together. Let's go ahead and click Launch Hub. When it does that, it's going to give us our scope and also note up here. It says if you use any automation tools, please only use a dictionary and sec list found here to avoid wasting your time. I'm already thankful for that because a number of times I'm working through machines on other platforms and I don't know if I can brute force or what it's going to look like, or I'm looking at you, Hack the Box, where it only works if you use the one obscure freaking word list on GitHub. That drives me crazy. So I'm quite happy that this is here for us. So let's go ahead and download this file. And also, let me look over at chat. If this is a sponsored live, yes, this video is sponsored by me. And hey, for those of you watching this after the fact, I'm making this right now live on stream. If you don't join me for my live streams, you're missing out. You should be part of the party. We were having such a good time. I had to turn off comments before recording this video. So if you're not part of the live stream, you should join us sometime. But here we go. I went and got the wordless.zip downloaded. Let me pop open my terminal. You do not need to jump on a VPN to access the HackingHub machines. So I'm going to make a directory called HackingHub. We'll go over to it and we'll make a directory for VulnLawyers. And I'm going to copy from my downloads folder. And I think that was wordless.zip. I'm going to save it to this current directory. And we'll just go ahead and unzip it. And okay, that gives me a bunch of files like this. We can remove the Mac one. But now we have content, parameters, passwords, subdomains, usernames, wordless.zip. Let's organize this a little bit better. So I'm going to go to make a new directory, and we'll just call this our wordless. And now I'm going to copy everything into my wordless directory. If we do ls, oh, that didn't work. Oh yeah, I need to do that R. Okay. I'm doing something wrong here, but that's fine. It was just... Oh, I'm so stupid, guys. I meant to do move, not copy. I'm like, why is it not disappearing? It's not disappearing because I'm stupid. And when I meant to do move, I was doing copy. Let me just redo that. That's the beauty of doing this live. We'll make a new directory called wordless. Instead of copy, let's go ahead and move all the files into my wordless directory. Now when we do ls, we have it all cleaned up. And now they're all in wordless. I'm a freaking genius. Obviously. Now that I solved the issue of, you know, the noob of moving files on a Linux machine. I do promise I am a pen tester and I have the OSCP, but we got this. We have the wordless right there. Let's look over at this. We have 6 different flags that we need to find as we work our way through this web application. And the cool thing about HackingHub is all of the missions, all of the labs are based on real vulnerabilities that you will see in the real world. There is no silly CTF steganography that you pull from an image BS that you might encounter on other platforms. Looking at this, we have an OSINT domain and we have a scope. Well, let's just begin with our scope right here. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to head over to Notion and we'll make VulnLawyers right here, and I'll do it H1. We'll drop in our scope information like so, and I'm going to make a table of contents as well so we can see everything that we are working on. So we have our scope, and now that we have our scope, let's just begin with our basic enumeration on the website. Now we know this is a web server. HackingHub is very much web-based challenges. So as a web server, we likely don't need to do a bunch of port scanning. We know there's going to be a web server running on it. So let's set this up. If we do enumeration, I'm going to do an H1 for enumeration. There's a few things I always do on a web server. One thing that we'll do is we'll do directory brute forcing. See if there's any hidden directories on this web server, and I like to use dir search for that. So I'm going to drop that in there for dir search. I also like to look for vhosts or virtual hosts. It could be a different website essentially sharing the same infrastructure and the same IP, but we need the vhost in order to access it. So we'll do an H2 and we'll call it vhost. And then finally, I like to do another H2 and we'll just call this website functionality. And we'll see how does the website actually work? What might we be able to exploit on this website? So before we even pull up this website, let's get our scans running. Step number 1, I suppose, let's make sure the website loads for us. And it does. VulnLawyers will win that case. So let me copy that and let's kick off some of these scans. So we'll do dir search-u. I can copy that in there. And I think we'll be fine without even specifying the word list. Let's just try the basic dir search word list. Otherwise, we can for sure use the word list that they gave us. But we'll call this dir search. I'm going to open a new tab right here. We're going to do this one for vhost. Now, you can do vhost fuzzing with ffuff, but I always forget the syntax. So I made a little custom tool that wraps around ffuff to help people like me who forget the syntax. If you want this tool, you can actually get it from my GitHub. I will drop it in chat for those of you who are watching live real quick. T1000 said the ffuff script for vhost is useful. I use it. Good. I have all these random scripts in this offensive security repo right here. And the one that I'm going to show off is this vhostfuzzer.sh. So I'll drop this in chat, but feel free to grab that. Now, if I do this tools vhostfuzzer-h, you can see how it works. It says this script is a vhostfuzzer using ffuff for people who may forget the syntax like me. We just need to pass our domain, our word list, our URL, and our FS filter. If that doesn't mean anything to you, that's okay. I will explain it. Number one, our domain. Well, our domain is easy. We have that information right here. So let me copy our domain, and I'll drop the domain in right there. Our word list, we can do word list. What word list do we have here? Maybe subdomains will be a good starting point. Our URL is going to be https that chariot thingy, ctfio.com. FS filter will do 1 because we don't know what the FS filter is yet. And you can actually see it found something right away called data. So that's cool. We have dir search running. Dir search didn't find anything super useful, but let's go ahead and grab this information and drop it into our notes anyways. I'm going to pull this out so I can tab back and forth between them, but drop in the information here in dir search. And we can look over at vhost. It's already done. We'll just grab this right here and drop in the data right there. Now that we have a vhost, we can go ahead and try to navigate out to it just to see if it actually exists. Oh, if I can go to the right tab. Data. Oh, I already had that copied. So let's just paste that in, jump back over at data, like so. And you can see it works and actually gives us our first flag right there. So the first flag is you do vhost fuzzing, and we're able to find the flag by going to our vhost. Once again, this is very much real world enumeration. I can't talk. Real world enumeration when you're doing a web app pen test or an external network pen test and you're fuzzing for vhosts. And what HackingHub is trying to teach you is, hey, enumeration is key. Make sure you have solid methodology when it comes to enumeration. And by doing so, we are able to grab the first flag right here. So I'm going to go ahead and open up FlameShot and grab a screenshot of this. If you're following along on HackingHub, you can submit this flag, but I already submitted it, so I can't resubmit the flag. We'll just drop it underneath our vhost because that's where we found our first flag. And I'm going to make that a lot smaller. Drop that over to here. I cannot see your messages on Discord Psycho while I'm streaming, but I'll try to check them later. We also see that this is a VulnLawyers website API, so we might be able to do some API hacking as well on that. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but so I make sure I come back to it. I'm going to make a new, we'll do an H2, and we'll say VulnLawyers API, and that's the data vhost. So we can include that in our notes. All right, now we have the website and we do have login, which leads to denied. Let's go ahead and open up Kaido and do a little bit of a closer enumeration of everything that's going on here. Now, if you've never heard of Kaido, you should check it out. If you know what Burp Suite is, Kaido is similar. It's a web proxy auditing tool written from the ground up in Rust. The reason I really enjoy showcasing it on stream is it's much more affordable than Burp Suite, and even the free version of Kaido does not rate limit you on attacks like Burp Suite does on Intruder. But let's go ahead and click Start here on Kaido to open up my Kaido instance. And we will go to Intercept, And I'm going to open up just the built-in browser here so I don't forget to turn off Foxy Proxy. Hey, Lacey, this is HackingHub.io is what I'm showcasing right now. All right, let me close out this extra little window, and now we can begin really digging into this web application. We'll go to Charlotte, whatever, right here, and let's head to it. So VulnLawyers will win that case. There's nothing that interesting here. We can right-click and view page source, see if there's anything that stands out to me. What I do when I view page source is I'm looking for any type of JavaScript that I might be able to mess with. Maybe there's a comment from the web developer, not generally things you see in the real world, but every once in a while you might see something interesting. Otherwise, I like to look to see if maybe files are stored in an S3 bucket. If you don't know what S3 buckets are, hey, do you remember that commercial at the beginning of this video? You should sign up for my Intro to AWS Pentesting course, and I teach you all about S3 buckets and how you can exploit them. But S3 buckets are often used to store websites' assets. And if you see a website is storing things in an S3 bucket, you can then go and audit that S3 bucket and see if that's securely configured. If not, you can use that as an entry point or as a way of exploiting something. But looking at the source code here, nothing super helpful. We know if we look back at our notes, we have a few different endpoints. Images is kind of standard stuff, but we do have a login that redirects to denied. So if we go to login, it goes to denied. Access is denied from your IP address. So that's interesting. There's a few things that come to mind for me when I see that access is denied from our IP address. Let me grab a screenshot of this and I'll make a few notes of those things. We'll jump over to our notes. And we'll just do it under website functionality. Make it a little bit smaller like so. So a few things that come to mind. If access is denied from our IP address, we can always try a header that's x forwarded for. And I'll show this to you later on. This isn't actually used in the room, I don't think. It's been a while since I went through this mission, and I'm going off memory, but this is something I tried when I did it. But every once in a while, you're able to bypass IP restrictions by adding an x-forwarded for header and changing it to localhost, like 127.0.0.1. You may be able to bypass IP restrictions. I would say I don't see this in the real world very often, but always something worth doing if access is denied from our IP address. We could also look for like any SSRF vulnerabilities. SSRF is server-side request forgery. If we can find an SSRF vulnerability, we can actually make the web request make a request to itself. So then it's not coming from our IP address, it's coming from the web server's IP address, and we can abuse that to often bypass any type of IP blocks. And now let's just look at this request a little bit closer. So if I jump back over to here, we can go to HTTP history. And we have the login request. I'm just going to do Control-R to send that to replay. And we'll hit send on it. And you can actually see right here, we have the flag. And what this is teaching you on the pen testing side of things is you should always look at every single request inside of a proxy such as Kaido of what I'm doing right now. Don't take it on face value, but dig into it and see what you might be able to find in this request. And we have this right here. Access to this portal can now be found at lawyers only and lawyers only. So let's grab that. We can drop it in our notes. And I'll also show you, that X forwarded for. Can I get your AWS pen testing course for free? It depends if you know how to read. That's all I'll say. There is a way that you can apply for a scholarship, but for the number of people who don't know how to read the course description and do that properly, you do not get a scholarship. That's as nice as I can say it. One second, I need to fix one thing real quick on Kaido. All right, here we go. Let me jump back over to Kaido. I had to switch my project real quick. Realized I was in a previous project. Let me see if I can redo this login right quick so we have it pulled up. Does that work? And it does. There we go. Now I have a fresh project for us to work in. Now if we hit send on login, we're able to see the flag. I believe that is flag number 2, and we have a new endpoint called lawyers only. So we'll jump back over to our notes, and we have a few things that we want to dig into. So we have our flag, which I had said before, that's flag number 2, and we have a new endpoint called lawyers only. So let's go ahead and dive into this. We'll keep our notes organized, and we'll call this investigating the lawyers only endpoint. And let's do that. All right, VulnLawyers, we will win that case. Here we have a standard login and password. We'll just do admin, admin, and hit login. We can jump back over to Kaido, look at our HTTP history, and grab that request from this post request right here. We'll do Control R to send it over to replay. And let me zoom in so you guys can see this a little bit closer if I can. Hopefully it looks a little bit closer. And I'll come back and answer questions, guys, when we're done working our way through this. I'll answer this one. It's good. What's the difference between Burp Suite and Kaido? They have very similar functionality, but Kaido is much more affordable and accessible for those who are newer in the field or doing bug bounty. Burp Suite Pro has significantly more features, but it comes with a bigger price tag. Anyways, when we log in, we have this post request. I'm going to go ahead and grab this and add it to our notes as well. So we'll just say login form, and here is the post request. I'll drop the full thing in there just so we have it for our notes. And a few things that we'll want to try when we have a login form. We can always try an injection attack. So we can try SQL injection and no SQL injection. We can try password spraying, username enumeration, all those kinds of things. So let's begin with testing some injection attacks. First, if we click send on here on admin, you can see we get invalid email or password combination. One really easy way to test for SQL injection attacks is doing one single quote. If it's vulnerable to SQL injection, you'll often get a 500 server error, and that's what you want to look for. And we do not get it on the email. Potentially maybe the password is vulnerable. And we do not get it on there either. So we'll go ahead and fix that. It's also quite easy to test for no SQL injection. We'll just do a bracket right here and do not equals. So if it doesn't equal admin123, it will log us in. And we get the same result. So it's not vulnerable to either SQL injection or no SQL injection just on our quick manual test. So I'm going to cross those out. And now we can do password spraying and username enumeration. And here is what it really is pointing us to. We have our email and we have a password. And if you remember, change this to terminal, we have a word list here. And specifically, we have usernames and we have passwords in this word list. Now, you could use Hydra and stuff to brute force this, but Kaido makes it way easier. So let me show you right now how you can use Kaido, and we can actually try every username and every password and see if we're able to get access to a user by password spraying this login form. Here on Kaido, we're going to go over to Files, and I'm going to upload a file. I'm going to drop over to Home, HackingHub, VulnLawyers, word list, and we'll drop in our usernames.txt. We'll upload another file, Home, HackingHub, VulnLawyers, word list, and passwords.txt. We have a passwords.large. I don't know if we'll need that or not, but it's always best to begin with a smaller one. So let's start with passwords.txt and see if we're able to get anywhere with that. Finally, we have this right here. I'm going to do Control M on my keyboard, and that's going to send it over to Automate. Now, if you're used to Burp Suite, would be like Intruder over in Burp Suite. But if you use Burp Suite Community Edition, you know that Intruder is basically pointless because of the way it rate limits you. You cannot do this type of attack in Burp Suite Community Edition unless you set it up with Python using Turbo Intruder, I think is the name of the extension. But that standard Community Edition Intruder is way too slow to do an attack like this. Let's go ahead and fix this because we don't want it to be not equals. We want it just to be email. And now we're going to mark our two areas. So I'm going to mark this as a placeholder. And this is a placeholder. I'm also going to change my attack type to matrix. You can see it says it replace all markers with all combinations of payloads. Payloads can have a different number of elements. In other words, we wanted to try every username with every single password combination to see if we're able to get access. So we'll do matrix there. And we will go ahead and set this up as hosted file. We'll begin with payload number 1. You can see that I switch my payload by clicking into it, right? So payload number 1, we're going to, of course, use our usernames payload. And payload number 2, we're going to use our passwords payload. URL code is fine. Everything else looks good to me. Number of workers 10 is good. And we'll go ahead and click run on this to perform the attack. Now this will take just a little bit of time, but what it's doing right now is it's going to try every username against all of those passwords and see if we are able to get access. While it does that, I'll look over at chat, see if there's any questions. Hey, good to have you here, Henry, from the Knowledge Physics Lab. Amazing. Good to have you here. Could you share with you your host and VM configurations? Maybe I'll make a video about that. What we're looking for as we do this is looking to see if there's any length or status that's going to be a little bit different. We'll let it continue to run. Also, while it does this, we can continue to do a little bit of enumeration. So we have this. There wasn't much more we could do here, but one thing I didn't check was the source code. That's always helpful to check. If there's anything interesting in the source code, scroll out and you can see there isn't. We just have, once again, that email and our password for logging in. This is still taking a while to do its thing. But let's think about what we all have for our notes so far. Let me scroll up. We have this vhost right here, and this might be worth digging into as well if we look into this data.charlotte. So let's, while this is scanning this, let's go back over to this endpoint right here, knowing that it is some type of API. So I'm going to pull that up on a different tab. We have invalid endpoint because obviously that's not an endpoint. And there's our initial flag here on data.chariot or whatever the heck it's called. It looks like Kaido is still doing its thing, not finding any hits yet. We have a lot to go through. So maybe if we enumerate the API, we can find something that will give us a little more of a targeted attack. So let's go ahead and try that. We'll open our notes and make a list of things that we want to check. And it's going to be similar to before, except for I don't think we really need a fuzz for vhosts on a vhost, but we do for sure want to run dir search on it. Maybe there's some interesting endpoints in the API that we can use for our enumeration. So I'm going to do an H2 and we'll just call it dir search again. Drop it in there and let's run it against this. We'll grab our data like so, and we'll run dir search. We'll do -R so it's recursive, and we can specify our word list to save a little bit of time since it gave us the word list. Maybe content. And we'll see if we break the web server by scanning it with Kaido and this. Looks like this is still doing its thing. What am I automating in Kaido? Here, I'm going to pause this just so I don't break it. What I'm automating is login requests. So we have a list of usernames and we have a list of passwords, but the usernames is just coming from usernames.txt, so it's a pretty large file. But what it's doing is it's literally going to try every single username in this file against every single password. We're doing password spraying. So you can see in that little bit of time, we have done nearly 5,000 requests over here in Kaido. And look at this. Sure enough, when we scan this, we're able to find a user's endpoint. And that might just come in handy for us when we're trying to do password spraying. So we have a user's endpoint. Let's see what that user's endpoint returns for us. Oh, do I have... Oh, no, I don't have proxy turned on. Cool. Let me get This pulled up. We actually have a list of users and another flag. So this is going to be the third flag if you are following along and you want to add this over to HackingHub as you follow along. But we have another flag right here. Let me go ahead and grab this information. Well, actually, we'll grab the users like so. And I'm going to go here on my machine. And I'm going to do nano users.txt. Paste this in, but you can tell right now this isn't super helpful because we have name, email, everything like that. But what we can use is JQ to parse this and pull out the information we want, which we actually, I think we're going to need the whole file so we don't mess up the syntax. Let me paste in the whole file. Now, if we cat out users.txt, we have this whole file, but our goal is we only want the emails. So we can create a list of the emails. Now, this is a small list. We could literally just copy and paste and do it ourselves. But imagine we hit an API endpoint that dumps users for us, which is something I've seen in the real world. But instead of just a handful of users, we have 400 users. And we want to be able to create a text list or a separate word list that only includes valid users of the application. Well, we can do that with JQ. So we can do JQ users because we want to pull it out of the users right here. And what we want to pull out of the users is the email. Like so. See if that worked. Oh, but I need to do users.txt. And look at that, it does work. So we can use JQ to specify, hey, we want to pull from the users, and then specifically from the users, we want to just pull their emails, and we can do it right there. And what we can also do is save this to, we'll just call it only users.txt. And now when we do that, we have the users right here, but we want to remove the quotation marks. A few different ways that we can do this, but I'll show you a very quick ghetto way of doing this. We can cat out only users, we can pipe it, and we can cut it by the delimiter of that. And I think if I specify field 1, field 2, there we go. If I specify field 2, that will give me the users, and I'll just call this users final.txt. Very ghetto way of doing it, but it does the trick. We have just a list of users right there that we are able to grab. So let me grab that list of users. We'll copy, jump back over to Kaido. I'm going to close this attack, and let's redo this first attack. We can keep our payload number 2 as passwords, but let's change our email here. Instead of a hosted file, let's just do a simple list, and I'll paste in their usernames. We do want to turn off URL encoding, I think, because that might break it. So let me turn off URL encoding for those payloads, and that looks good to me. Let's go ahead and click run. Same thing as before. It's going to try every single password against every single user that we were able to find. So this might take a little bit of time, but now we have a more accurate list of valid users in the application, and we might actually hit something and make ourselves successful. And we can see the request that it's doing. Jeez, I know where this cough has come from that I have out of nowhere while I'm streaming. But anyways, we can see the request. We can throw this over to repeater, or replay rather is what it's called in Kaido, to make sure it's going through well. And you can see it looks like it's doing the right thing. It's passing it the email of the user, and it's pulling the passwords from that passwords file. So it seems to be working for us. We'll just give it a little bit of time, and I'll use the power of video editing to speed us up. And it looks like, hey, maybe I did something wrong because I'm not seeing any hits here. Oh, wait. Whoa. What is this? We're using the wrong word list. You note that right here. Hack Smarter Security definitely is not in the word list that we need for this. And I think I know what happened. Here in Kaido, I already had a file called passwords.txt. I have two passwords.txt. One is from January 11th and one is from May 14th. The January 11th one is actually for my silver platter machine on TryHackMe. And if we use that word list, well, it's not the right word list for the machine, so it's not going to work for us. So maybe, just maybe, if I use the correct word list here, this passwords.txt, let's give it another shot. And now what I'll do is the video of the magic of video editing, I'll jump us to when we find the correct password. So note to Tyler, this is where you need to edit. I'm going to make a note to myself here on my computer. We're at the 33-minute mark of the recording. Okay. Now, Tyler, it is already done. So note to Tyler when he edits his video, you can jump to this point right here. All right, it was pretty quick, honestly, but once we are done, you can see we did 500 some requests super fast here in Kaido. And we can click right, let me expand this a little bit. And we have status. Now, what we're looking for is a change of status. We know that when it's an invalid login attempt, we get invalid email or password combination, and we get a 401 unauthorized. So let's sort by status and see if there's a different status as part of our login request. We'll sort again. And you can see right here, we have a different status, a 302 found, that actually allows us to authenticate the lawyers only as this Jaskerin user. And so that's going to give us authentication to the application. So we were able to successfully brute force it, which a really cool path, right? We first found this API. And then from the API, we used dir search. We were able to dump the users. And I'll add a note. We were able to dump the users, and then we sprayed those users at our previous login form right here, and we were able to get access as a user. So let me go ahead and drop that user's information in so we have it. Jasker and Low with the password Summer. I mean, that's the same password I use for my bank account. That's crazy that we both use that same Summer password. Mine's Summer 2025, though, to make it a little more secure, but you know, it is what it is. Let's see if we can log in as this user. I'm going to copy his username. And Summer. And we have successfully logged in, and that gives us another flag. Now, when we look at this, it says we have current cases. Evil Corp versus Jones Animal Charity. It is managed by Shane Cairns, and changes can only be performed by the case manager. So we can't do any changes here. We can go ahead and inspect. We can view the page source. There's probably not much super helpful to us. We have the flag, of course. Nothing real helpful here. But we have some functionality. We have our portal, which gives us our flag. We have logout, which we don't want to log out. And we have a profile. On our profile, we have our name right here. And we have an email. Let's go ahead and update our name to Hack Smarter and click Update. And it says updates are currently disabled. That's cool. What did that request look like, though? Let's go back over to Kaido, and we'll go over to HTTP history. And we have first this post request right here to update our email, and it says they are disabled. But then we have a GET request to see our profile details on 4, which, if you follow web app hacking at all, this looks like a good case of an IDOR, or insecure direct object reference, which is a form of broken access controls. We might be able to enumerate this number and get access to other users. You can see with user number 4, we get access to our name, our email, and our password being stored in clear text. That is not good. Now, you may see this and think, well, this doesn't happen in the real world. You would be surprised. I got a $2,000 bug bounty by exploiting something almost identical to this, except I couldn't see the clear text password. It was the hash password. But here's the crazy thing. I exploited an iDoor like this. Not only did I get their hash password, but I got their one-time password reset token. So I could do a password reset for a user, and then I could query this endpoint, and I could steal their password reset token, and I got their MFA token. So if they had MFA in their account, I could steal their MFA reset key, reset their MFA, and take over their account by abusing this type of attack in a real-world scenario. So what I'm showing you right now, this isn't just a CTF-y thing. This is something you should check when you're doing web app pen testing, bug bounty, security research. I have multiple CVEs, I think 2 CVEs also on a vulnerability very identical to this one. So make sure you check the seemingly simple things. So let's just go through this. What if we look at 1? All right, 1, we have Yusuf McLean. Now, who managed this? If we go to portal, we want to get Shane Cairns. Like, that would be a good user because we know that Shane Cairns manages that case. So we can go through here, and right away we have user ID number 2. We have Shane Cairns, we have his password, and we have the 5th flag. We're almost to the final flag. We can copy this to our notes, jump over to VulnLawyers, and I don't even know where to put this. Let's do H1, authenticated access to the portal. I'm going to drop this in here, right here, and this endpoint is vulnerable to an iDoor on the ID parameter that exposes victims' full passwords. And let's go ahead and grab that request to drop it in our notes. That gives us the flag, and it gives us Shane's password. So let's log out here, and let's see if we can verify Shane's password here. We'll grab Shane's username, and we'll grab his password, log in. And we have Evil Corp versus Jones Animal Charity managed by Shane Cairns. And we now have the option to delete the case. So let's go ahead and delete this case and see what happens. And finally, when we delete the case, it says there are no more cases, and we are able to retrieve the final flag, which allows us to solve this mission. And that, my friends, is the end of the VulnLawyers HackingHub mission. We were able to work our way all the way from flag 1 to flag 6. And what I thoroughly love about this is it's very real world. It's not CTF-y. The things that this mission showcases are things I see regularly when I'm doing API or web app pen testing. I also love that it forces you to combine the different vulnerabilities and chain them together. What you find in flag 1 of enumeration is going to matter later on, and you have to keep on going back. You find a new piece of information, you need to enumerate with it. Find a new piece of information, you need to enumerate with it. And there's a bunch of other hubs that you can dig down into. So let me go ahead and kill this server before we end this video. But if you enjoyed this one, if we jump back over to hubs, there are modules you can work through, there are missions you can work through, there are challenges, walkthroughs, all of that fun stuff, all of it free of charge. And this is just the VulnLawyers mission. We have all these other missions that you can dive into on your own for your own learning. And also, I'm going to make a lot more videos on HackingHub because I thoroughly enjoy this platform. So hey, thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me. Hopefully you learned something in the progress and just watching me kind of stumble my way around on this mission. But hey, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that YouTube algorithm stuff, and I will see you in the next one. Boom. All right, let me turn chat back on for you guys. I know I missed some questions. Let me scroll back through. Hoimonoe said, I like this lab so far. It's easily understandable. Exactly. And it's not that it's super easy because you have to chain these pieces together. But what I love about it is it actually makes sense. There's no like, okay, now that you found this flag, freaking download this image of this chipmunk and then run steg hide on the image of the chipmunk to pull out the base 64 encoded string that you need to then guess the password for so you can decode it, and then you're going to use that password to decrypt this other string, and then you're going to use that password to SSH in the machine. Like, what are you talking about? No one does that in the real world. I love HackingHub. It's really well done from my experience with it. How do you think that looks on the other side? Do you think someone's SIEM notification is going crazy? Probably not, honestly, not for web apps. Web apps seem to have less detection for that when you find a vulnerability like that. Like I'll say when I found the one for the $2,000 bug bounty, the target organization had no idea I found it. If I was a threat actor, I could have really abused that. Hey, Tyler, your Notion notes available publicly? They are not. Some of them are, but most of them are not. I'm not lean enough to use said. I always forget the syntax for that. Like this Gizmo says, so if you're going to edit this part out, did this moment really happen? No, it did not. About how long does it normally take for you after stream to edit, or do you typically do it the next day? It takes me like 5 minutes to edit. I mean, you guys have noticed that when I make videos, I one take them. The only time I edit my videos is when there's a waiting period in the video. I'll just very quickly in my editor splice that clip and put them together, but I don't edit most anything out. Then that's how I can release content regularly. I don't spend a lot of time editing my content. I just try not to screw up when I'm recording. And if I screw up when I'm recording, I would rather re-record most of it than edit. I suck at video editing. It's way too time consuming. So literally I'll jump off stream, we'll raid somebody, and like in 10 minutes, I'll have this video edited. Then I have to wait a little bit for it to export, but then I get it uploaded. Cool challenge. Enjoy that. Hacking Hub is a blessing. I agree. This does happen in real life, Baker Tech, I assure you. Getting Kaido now? Yeah, please check out Kaido. First time hearing about Hacking Hub. Well, glad you got to hear about it here. So Hacking Hub is the platform by a few amazing people. The one that you probably have heard of, actually two that you've heard of. It doesn't show them here, but we have, here, I'm going to go to the main website. Adam Langley, Ben, which is Nahamsek. You probably heard of him. John Hammond, Todd Bailey. So I haven't had the opportunity to talk to Todd yet, but I've talked to Adam and John and Nahamsek. They're all amazing people. I was actually just chatting with Nahamsek on Discord today. We have a meeting. I'm meeting with Ben and Adam next week about some maybe more formal collaborations with Hacking Hub and maybe a course and some voucher giveaways. So stay tuned to that. But amazing people, amazing team, and incredible platform. Yep, you're correct, Reckless Gizmo. And Kaido is from Canada. I didn't know that. Yeah, Kaido's amazing too, guys. So, like, one idea I have, drop a link here. So here in Hacking Hub, let me jump back over to my authenticated session. Here on Hacking Hub, there is, go to Hubs, courses. And you can see there's just a few courses here. Now, Nahamsek's hands-on web exploitation, hands-on certificate, and Linux for hackers fundamentals. I was talking to the developers of Kaido, who I'm also friends with. I have lots of friends in the industry, but the founders of Kaido, I'm friends with them as well and have supported them for a long time. And Nahamsek, I think, is on their leaderboard at Kaido, like to help with their marketing. But I thought, you know what would be a cool course, maybe a free course to have on here, is like an introduction to web app hacking with Kaido, and like a full course explaining how to use Kaido, beginning with the install, explaining all of the primary features in Kaido, but really a full-fledged course, kind of like my AWS course, but all about Kaido, but it would be on Hacking Hub, so then all the challenges would be built into the platform. I think would be really cool. Hey, I've been looking for a place to practice is more real world, so we'll be hitting up Hacking Hub. Awesome. Guys, if you're going to use Hacking Hub, the only thing I would ask for is like share them on LinkedIn. Like say, hey, I just saw this amazing video about Hacking Hub and tag me on it. And then, then Hacking Hub will be like, whoa, people from Tyler's stream are actually showing up. And that's cool. I don't get any kickbacks by that, by the way, but it's still cool. Hey, Tyler, you recommended TCM yesterday's stream, and I looked into their sub. It looks so worth it. I'll keep you posted because they've got some good content. TCM's amazing. Heath Adams is the leader of TCM, started everything. I have a meeting with him as well. I think next week, in 2 weeks. No agenda, just to get caught up. He and I have chatted a few times, so he and I are going to jump into a call just to get caught up with each other and, you know, see what he's been up to, see what I've been up to. So I love TCM, love Heath, love their whole team. All right, guys. I am going to call it a night. I'm going to get some exercise in, but let's see if we can find somebody to raid. If you've never heard of InfoSec Streams, you should check it out. If you like stuff like this, you can see people who are streaming. The Shy Hat, I know I say everyone's my friend, but that's because they all are. The Shy Hat is another very cool content creator, educator, and a friend of mine. So I would love for us to raid him. Let me check out who's all watching. So most of you are on YouTube. We have about 50 people on YouTube, 20 people on Twitch. Those of you on YouTube, if you can do me a favor and come watch on Twitch just for a little bit. You don't need a Twitch account, but I want you to be part of the raid to show support to my friend, the Shy Hat. I just dropped a link to my Twitch in chat, but come join me on Twitch. You can be part of the raid. What we do with the raid is it means we take all of our viewers and we send all of us to another streamer to show our support. And we also need to have a raid phrase. So when we raid my friend, the Shy Hat, make sure you say in chat when the raid starts, hack smarter, not harder. He'll know who we are. Let me get this raid ready to go real quick. Raid the Shy Hat. All right, raid is set up. Make sure you come join over Twitch and join the raid for all of you. Seriously, I know I say this at the end of every stream and in the beginning, but I really do mean it. Thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with me, to learn with me. For a long time when I would stream, there would be one person watching, and it was me on my smartphone making the stream work, making sure the stream worked. And like during this stream, I think we had an average of 70 people the entire time, hanging out, chatting, making jokes about hubs, all that fun stuff. So I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for being part of this journey. I'll catch you in the next stream. I don't think I'll be on tomorrow night, but who knows? Maybe I'll jump back on. But thank you guys for being here. I'll see you in the